in the ongoing saga of the Brett Cooper situation, the gentleman, Jeremy Boring, decided to respond to all of this himself. This is the guy they call the God King. I don't quite understand why they call him the God King, but he decided to respond and finally speak out about all this stuff. And instantly came some receipts with this that I was not expecting from an unlikely source. All right. So I'm going to play you guys some of this, and then we're going to get into some things that claim the opposite with this situation. So check this out.
Has been the producer of the show, has helped to write the show every single day, 2 episodes a day.
So he's talking about Reagan, and some would say he's in damage control. We're going to get to a specific quote here in a second, but let's let him get this out and how he feels personally hurt by how Brett has handled this situation.
And has been Brett's best friend. So, some of the accusations against Reagan have been really ugly, like that she's impersonating Brett. Well, that's unfair. If Reagan seems a bit like Brett, it's because she's Brett's best friend and one of the writers and the producer of the show. She's worked as much on the show every day on what the show would look like and feel like and sound like as Brett has.
Now, I've said that that's probably true. It seems like Reagan has been really involved in the show, and she wrote parts of the show, and that would explain why they're being close and they have similar mannerisms. But he makes a statement here that's really interesting, and I don't know if it's a flat-out lie or just a omission of time, the timeline here. But let's see what Jeremy Boring says.
For these last 2 years, they've done that together. Obviously, they have a lot in common in terms of their delivery because they have helped craft the show together.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the rumors I saw that we sent Reagan to acting lessons to make her more like Brett, that's absolutely absurd and deeply offensive. Reagan's enormously talented. She's been an enormous part of building the comment section.
I said that from the original onset of the situation. There was other folks that said the same thing, that I think the biggest L, if there is an L with this, besides it just being a disagreement over contracts, is if they actually did that. I don't think they would have done that. I hope they wouldn't have done that, but that was the initial rumors that came out, was that they sent Reagan to acting classes to imitate Brett's mannerisms. And there was quite a few creators that said, that's crazy if they did that. And so I don't think they did that. But there's other stuff he says here that I think is a bit...
For the last 2 years. And I've never sent her to an acting lesson. She's never asked me to send her to an acting lesson. I've never asked her to do anything to be more like Brett. If anything, we've told her make the show as much your own as you can while maintaining the format. But she is like Brett because they are friends and collaborators, have been collaborators on the show. It's actually ironic because I did send Brett to various kinds of lessons as a performer, not acting lessons. Brett's a terrific actress and always, the entire time I've known her, she has been, as will be evident when you see the Pendragon Cycle.
So apparently they're still putting out a movie with her, the Pendragon Cycle. That's going to be interesting. I wonder how that will work in terms of it being on Daily Wire, but she's not with Daily Wire. Pretty cool.
But I did send her to dancing lessons and singing lessons in preparation for her role as Snow White. I sent her to dialogue coaching sessions to help her with her role in the Pendragon Cycle. And that's good. That's like saying that you shouldn't send a performer to lessons is like saying that my political host shouldn't read books. They should just know everything. It should all be natural. What nonsense. You should always be making yourself better. And Brett did take steps to make herself better and better and better, and I'm sure will continue to. And perhaps Reagan will as well. But what Reagan hasn't done is taking acting classes to be more like Brett Cooper. That is just completely absurd. And it's hurt my feelings a little bit that Brett hasn't done more to defend her friend.
So it's hurt my feelings that Brett hasn't done more to defend her friend. Now, are they still friends, though? Because it seems like there was a fallout. Are they still friends? And if they're not friends, does she have any obligation to defend her friend? I think that's a different question here.
Reagan, Brett chose to leave the show. It was her idea, her stated desire to leave the show and to leave the company. She had personally recommended Reagan to me before she told me she wanted to leave the show.
I have a massive update for you. I'm sure by this point, you've heard about the Blessed God Summit happening March 27th, 28th, 29th here in beautiful Carlsbad, California. But we've heard your requests. We've conceded to your demand. There are virtual tickets that are now available for the Blessed God Summit, so you can access it from anywhere in the world, as well as access to the replays. And for those of you guys that are looking for something extra, we're also offering a virtual ticket and an exclusive Bless God Summit merch bundle. There's some amazing art and some exclusive pieces done by our friend Josh Nadeau from Sword and Pencil that you have to check out. So join us online for the virtual event and experience some sessions from my favorite podcasters, pastors, and performers. We have a stacked lineup. I'm talking about Preston Perry, Dr. Sean McDowell, Inspiring Philosophy. What do you mean? Lila Rose, Alan Parr and his wife Jen Parr. We even have Nate Sala from Wise Disciple, Gavin Ortland, David Wood, Avery from God Logic Apologetics. And on the pastoral side, we have my friend Daniel Golding, Pastor Ed Newton from CBC in San Antonio, and my personal pastor from Rhythm Church, Pastor Jeff Moores and his wife, Erin Moores. You won't want to miss out from amazing performances from America's Got Talent winner Dustin Savella, Billboard charting hip-hop artist John Keith, and Miles Minnick. And we're still finalizing a few more speakers. So head over to blessgod.shop, get your virtual ticket now, and you can get yourself a bundle with some of the exclusive merch as well. I'll see you over there, all right? Peace. So he said she had personally recommended Reagan to me. So the way Jeremy's framing this, she personally recommended Reagan. She should have done more because Reagan is her friend. She didn't do those two things, and she let this thing go on about the entire acting debacle. That's his argument. Now, someone pulled some receipts on him, okay, about an article where they actually got quotes from Brett about the situation, but it was paywalled, and so very few people caught this.
She had personally recommended Reagan to me and told me that if she ever did leave the show, Reagan would be a great person to consider to host it, and that at any rate, I should give something to Reagan because she should be on-screen talent. And the audience, whenever Reagan would guest host the comment section, the audience loved her. The comments were almost universally positive. In fact, many of the things that they're now criticizing her for in the comments were the things that they liked most about her.
That's probably
when
true.
They didn't know that Brett was leaving the show. And for that reason, I know that most of these attacks on Reagan are completely unfair. They're completely disingenuous. People aren't really raising these criticisms. They're either helping to craft or buying into a narrative which has been crafted by people who want the Daily Wire to fail and want Reagan to fail in the role. And both will be disappointed because Reagan will not fail in this role.
Okay.
And the Daily Wire will not fail. We continue to grow and we continue to succeed. And business is hard. And we'll go through you're always going to go through a little bit of a downturn in audience after a very popular host leaves a show. Brett will go on and build her next thing, and she'll do just fine and continue to be very successful. And Reagan will continue to find her footing with her new role as host of the comment section and continue to thrive. And absolutely, we will do other kinds of content with Reagan. You know, Reagan and Brett are different. We did other kinds of content with Brett in the form of acting. You know, she played a very important role in the Pendragon cycle.
Here's the issue with this is the claim that he made that they were friends and that at once upon a time, Brett recommended that Reagan take over the show. Now, some receipts that have been pulled here. Candace Owens pulled the article where they reached out to her for comment, and this is behind a paywall. She did a whole video on this, and this is what the article said. Hosting duties on the comment section was taken over by its producer, Reagan, after Cooper's departure. A year ago, Brett told me if she was to ever leave the comment section, so you notice what he did there? Well, Brett told me that she wanted to Reagan to take over the comment section, but he didn't say it was a year ago. So at the very least, is that a bit of omitting, right? Is that a bit of omitting on Jeremy's part? Hey, she told me that Reagan should take over the comment section. That's what he said in that video a second ago. Now, but it was a year ago. Okay, well, things could change in a year. She said Brett should take over, and I'm bummed and sad that she didn't defend Brett. Brett didn't defend Reagan with all these things. Okay, fair enough. But this is a year ago, according to him in this other article, Daily CEO Jeremy Boring. So that's interesting, right? 6 months later, Brett said she wanted to leave, and I realized she was right. Reagan, in addition to being the producer of CS for 2 years, is huge talent and a great choice to carry on the show. But Brett said, I did not select Reagan. So who's fibbing here? And is this a lie? Is this some omission happening? Is this something that could have been mitigated with just more clear communication? I will say that if Brett was a part of the transition process and knew this, that's kind of a bummer, you know, that she would not have her friends back. But it seems like they fell out because of just miscommunication and, hey, come with me. She didn't want to come with her, yada, yada, yada. And then she ended up staying and Brett ended up going. So there is that. And it doesn't seem like everything is always on the up and up in terms of how does the Daily Wire interact with talent. If I'm the Daily Wire, I probably would have tried to do everything I can to keep Brett because she definitely drove a lot of value to them. And I think they underestimated the value she presented. But that's neither here nor there. They could have mitigated this. So there's that. What do you guys think? Was he lying by omitting that detail, or was he technically telling the truth, but the timelines don't match up? According to Brett, she says she never said that Reagan should take over the show. Who knows? Who knows? Hey, thank you so much for checking out the video. Please be sure to comment below and subscribe and all that good stuff. And check out this other video that YouTube seems to be recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.